Welcome to what will be the last part in this series where we've been playing the 1.10 update for Empyrion Galactic Survival. Now, there's two reasons why this series is coming to an end. The first is that we are completed all the missions, and unfortunately, Elion haven't decided to extend the missions, which is a little bit of a disappointment. And we're moving into a phase of going out and just exploring the galaxy when there's a lot to see out there. And if it hadn't been for the second reason, I would have carried on with this series and done a little bit more work with the carrier, which is the where we're actually currently stood on the upper bridge. And the second reason is, well, the fact that there has been a release of Reforged Eden. And I kind of thought a little bit about whether to do it or not. And then your feedback, as usual, guys, a big thank you for all your comments and feedback. The general consensus is to wind this series up with one or two episodes, and then jump into looking at the new Reforged Eden update. But the one that really kind of decided to get on and start the Reforged Eden series is I got a comment and someone pointed out that they in the spring, I'm going to say the spring, although they said the end of the year, that there is supposed to be Reforged Eden 2 coming out, and that intrigues me. So it means that we've got a very tight window to get quite a lot done in Reforged Eden. So rather than do a couple of more episodes of this is going to be the final episode, so I can wind it up, and then we're going to jump straight into doing a Reforged Eden series. We're going to try and power through it as quickly as possible to look at some of the new features, because many of the new features are related to ship combat, which means we've got to get up and get some decent big ships in order to be able to kind of take a look at those things. Also, there's a big strong trading element which I know nothing about, so I would like to investigate that. So that's the reason why this series is coming to an end. And then the next problem I had is how to actually wind this series up. Now, I did consider going out in a blaze of glory by taking this carrier into a Zirax system. And then I thought, well, there's a couple of things I actually want to look at. And that then got me round to looking at a ship which I was watching Spange's series a couple of days ago. He was using was a ship called the Skipray battle tank, and I was quite intrigued by it. So what we're going to do in this part is we're going to do a bit of an experiment in the sense that we're going to go into a Zirax system. That's where we currently are. We're on the edge of the Zirax system. I know nothing about it. It's in here. And we're going to go in there and take the carrier into that, and then park the carrier, go down, and I don't think the skip ray will fit into the small CV. So we're going to go down. We're going to find a POI or something, and then we're going to try out the skip ray against the defenses. And then now, before that, I just want to talk a little bit about this carrier and some of your comments. Especially Snafu's mentioned that this ship is really big, and it makes a case for local teleporters, and I think he's quite right about that. I'm still trying to find my way around the ship. I'm going to come out here because basically it's just to talk a little bit about some of the main comments is parking this ship here. Now, I think if we were going to carry on, and this is another reason why I decided not to, and I know that we got this really good hangar deck here, but I think what I'd have to do is to avoid this slight kind of cocked parking for the CV. I think I would have to take these guns off and then extend the back of the ship, not that much, but a little bit. Take out the hangar deck because I don't think you can actually dock to a hangar. Create a platform here, so what we could do then is bring in and then what that would mean is that the nose of the this small capital vessel could come in on here and just attach to the back of the ship. And then I suppose that leads on to something that Snafu was saying is about the fact that most carriers traditionally have the main command center on one side. And I think that's correct, although I must admit I do like this center kind of section here. Although I think if I was building this CV, I wouldn't have extended the center section here. I would have had a fairly large platform out the front, but the only downside with that is that you would have to have a forward bridge so that you could fly it. Because I remember when I built a carrier in a series some time ago, I can't remember when it was actually when it was, having a big CV stuck in front of your cockpit restricts visibility quite considerably, which is okay if your carrier is just going to stay up in space, but it can make docking a little bit more tricky. Now, that then leads into another observation that I was kind of thinking, and it's something that came out when Elion introduced multiple docking. There was a little bit of a rash of ships called drop ships, and the idea is that you had these small ships that could effectively pick up an HV and drop it down on the planet. Although whether I'd use that if I had a carrier, it's another matter. I mean, and I think this is where the whole issue of ships, and I think that then moves into the idea that when you're building on this scale, your ships have got to fit together. Really, you need a collection of a big carrier, a CV that fits with it, because of course you want a combat CV. Because the one downside of a big carrier, while it could be very effective armed to defend itself, which is what we're going to try out in a little while if we can get into some battles, the problem is that there's no way these are going to go up against a capital vessel. It's the same as in real life. Carriers are not meant to be in the thick of a battle. They're meant to stand off and launch ships and provide tactical support. And so in some ways that is maybe something that I need to consider. And I suppose that is, now I don't want to labour this too much, but it's a bit of a segue into what I want to do in the Reforged Eden series, which is get back to building my own ships, especially the capital ships. We might bring in a small ship which might be useful. And if you watch the previous video, you'd be aware I was talking, oops, I don't want that, I want the blueprint. I was talking about some SVs, the MX5E, and I think what I might do in the next series is we might try and go for one of these, probably the Reforged Eden version. I quite like it actually. It's a little bit high, but I think this would make quite a good combat platform. I mean, it's not gonna be something we're gonna be able to build in the beginning. We're gonna have to probably stick with the Silver Shade Light to begin with, but more about that once we get into the new series. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna come in here, find the cockpit, still get lost in the ship. That's one of the reasons why I didn't wander very far away from the main cockpit here. Because it is there. So we're going to come in here. I think what I want to do is we're going to take the carrier into one of these planetary systems. I'm not sure what this is. Since this is a large arid planet, what we got here? It's barren, scorched. Well, this has got lots of resources on. There's temperature differences, lots of resources, but can be very difficult to mine. Yeah, we're not going to do any mining, and what I'm really more interested in is something that's... Ah, there we are. Maybe we need to go to Zeta 3. It says multiple anti-aircraft positions. This has actually got no description, though. I think, because what I'm looking for is something that might have a POI on it. We've got a large alien planet. Actually, let's go to the large alien planet, because I'm kind of half thinking about starting on an alien planet. Either that or one of the more... Well, no, I don't want to talk about the new update. I think we'll go there. We'll go to whatever it's called. And then we've got to kind of power the ship up. I've already switched on the thrusters. Not thrusters, sorry, shield. Go to exterior. So you can see the ship turns quickly, got a nice top speed, but where this ship is weak, and this is always a problem with big ships, is the lateral thrusters and rising and falling. This means that they're quite difficult to maneuver if you're in a combat situation. So effectively what you've got to do is just get them into a static position where they can just kind of put out a kind of sphere of defenses. Anyway, we're just going to go into here. Oh, and the other thing I did miss completely when I was looking at this in the last part was the fact that this ship didn't have a scanner on it. So I put a scanner on it, what we got here. Oh, yeah, we got a couple of orbital bases, which we could have a crack at. The trouble is this ship is not really set up. It's got an orbital defense there, but we kind of took one of those down. I think what we'll do is we'll head for the planet, because as I say, I'm more interested in what's actually down on the planet, so I want to try out that hover tank. We're going to head for the planet and see what we can find. Ping out another. I think the orbital command there is static, isn't it? And of course, talking about carriers, this is a bit of advice. What you want to do is not do what I've just done, because what you want to do is that when you first come into a system, you land at the sun, and then a bit of a top tip, guys, is don't go barreling into a planetary system with your carrier. What you want to do is leave the carrier next to the sun and then do a recon in force with respect to the and then what you want to do is a recon in force is go and see what's in the system. If it's a system that's relatively quiet, which luckily it seems this one seems to be, then you can take the carrier in. If it's a very hostile system, especially if it's got some really large enemy ships in it, what you want to do is leave the carrier next to the sun, because it's always a relatively safe place. And you've got to remember is that the carrier itself is your actual real defense, and you can't really afford to lose it, because that's the role it's meant to be. I think do I want to take the SV with me? I think we'll take the SV with me. I'm going to go this way simply because it's a bit easier to find the SV. I think it's in here somewhere. There it is. Yeah, I think it's Snafu who mentioned that it's got the this ship's got the side hangars, and I must admit I do agree with that, his opinion that side hangars are, when you build a really big ship, side hangars are something that is very useful. The problem is you need a really big ship to do it. Go on, open the doors, please. Yes, thank you. Now, of course, we can't dock to our capital vessel straight away. So what I'll do is I'll just put the SV where I know it is, because again, this is one of the problems that when you're using multiple ships and you've arrived in a system, and again, this is another reason why I was saying that you want to do a recon before you actually go barreling into a system, because what you can do is if you go into a fairly hostile system and say you've got a combat CV, you can actually use the combat CV to support the carrier, but you need that key amount of time to separate them and actually place them. Also, another thing with carriers now is you've got that, was it the drone? Let me just see, I can't remember now. It's new with this update. I think it is where is it? I'm sure, yeah, drone based spawner here. Takes 5,000. I think now if I was going to build a carrier, I'm not sure. Not sure if these will be available in Reforged Eden, but if I was building a carrier, I'd probably put one of these on. I think you can only have one per ship, I think. But what that would do then is provide you with an option to be able to defend your ship. The drones can spawn out and provide extra defenses. So again, if you want building your own CV or carrier, that spawner could be quite useful now going forward. Right, we're gonna have to go and recover the SV now. I think this is one of the downsides of getting ships from the workshop, is that some of them are really good, but at the same time they can get a little bit dated. I've got those shields where put lightsaber, so, and we're just gonna come here. And again, a little bit of an aside for the new series, I've actually spent a couple of hours yesterday actually sketching out designs for ships, because I do really want to build some ships in the next series. I mean, obviously the shapes are fairly static, but I certainly would like well, I'm gonna probably the one ship that we will probably get from the workshop is the light scout ship. But then what we will do is and then what I'd like is a combat CV, a hover tank, which is the reason why we're going down here, because I want to check out Spange's ship for two reasons. One, I like the shape and I like the concept, so I'm kind of be quite interested in how that's actually going to work. Okay, we discovered another planet. And of course, for the first time, for a long time, I've come in on a hostile planet and the enemy is some distance away. Right, we've got a little bit of a cluster up there. And I think we're going to head up there and see what's up in this area here. Okay, we've now entered Zirax space. Unfortunately, we are over water. We're going to have to kind of move out a little bit. See if we can find some dry land. Where are we? Yeah, we need to go out, round, and come back in from the other side. So just go over here. Bit of an isolated base over there. So let's see. Obviously some not sure what these guys are firing at, but firing in all directions at the moment. And thrusters off. I think first thing we'll do is secure the area using the SV and do a little bit of recon. So, because again, even if I just put the SV on the ground, it can provide some coverage. Of course, this is not the ideal planet for this. Okay, what's over here? Can't see anything. Don't know whether it's just hostile creatures or I think we're just killing hostile creatures, aren't we? These pteropods. Okay, let's just see if we can get in and hoping that there'd be some patrols here, but obviously not. If we can get in close and still can't see what we're shooting at. Oh. I think they're just alien creatures. Anyway, let's just keep the recon going. Get out the trees. there's a supply base here. And we got some defense structures which are now firing at us. Okay. Let's just get back to the ship. There's a large plasma drone over there, but it won't be a problem. What I'll do is I'll put the SV down alongside, because if I dock it, I mean, this is a decision you make. If you dock a ship, say I dock the SV to the capital vessel, it effectively becomes invisible to anybody attacking. In fact, I think, don't quote me on this, that what actually happens is that any shells fired or weapons fired at the CV pass right through a docked ship. We'll just turn the thrusters off, leave the turrets on. If you want all embracing cover, what you can do is, but if you want all embracing cover, what you can do is just put the ship alongside, and that will give you more support. Actually, let's just check. These guys are hostile to me, aren't they? Geist. Yeah, they're unfriendly. They're not actually hostile. They just don't like us very much, and they're probably going to like us even less in a minute. Right, so we're going to bring in Spange's battle tank, and just give you a tour of this. Now, this is the unupgraded version of his tank. You can see here it's very heavily armed at the front with hardened steel blocks, and it's got, you can see it's got 5 turrets on it and some Gatling guns. I think the one he uses in his playthrough, he's actually upgraded with a shield, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to go with, hopefully we'll be in range of the, not that one, oh, the NC assist. And what we're going to do is put in, so I've got one of those. Got some more 15mm as well. I think we're too far away from the again, this is another downside of, of course we didn't bring the, sorry, a bit of a fail, guys. I think we can pull out some shells from the, we got to pick up shells from the what we call it, the carrier. Right, we are going to need fuel. It's there. Is it main storage? Some fuel. Not sure if we need oxygen, but we'll just put some in anyway, just for the fun of it. Not like I've got a shortage of it. Now, as far as I know, is this ship doesn't. What's the? I think what I will do is, I think I've got an armor locker in here. I'll take off the EVA boost, just in case we get into any actually ground combat. Not that I'm planning on it, but you never know. We'll just get into here. We've got those shields devices, just to show you what this ship's got. It's a very basic ship. You can see all the most of the stuff is ungrouped down here. We've got 5 turrets. Let's see what we got. Don't want you to waste on predators. And what I want you to do is concentrate on mounted weapons, especially as we're going up against a base. Sure. Now we've got 240, 130mm shells. That should be enough. Got no scanner. Why has it got no scanner? Bit odd. Not sure if I can make a scanner very quickly. I didn't bring a lot of resources with me because I couldn't be bothered. Transfer. No, I don't have. Actually, I haven't even unlocked the. Just seen that when I did it. The scanner. See whether we can make a scanner now. No, we still need electronics, optical fibers. Oh well. I'm just gonna have to go in without a scanner. Actually, I think we'll be okay. Not exactly sure what that was. In a card. Obviously, the upper. Right, we can see what we're aiming for now. The turrets are tracking. Okay. Well, I like the multiple turrets. The multiple turrets are doing their job. Okay, so we've got. Let's see if we can. Right, let's get up behind here. Right, that one's shielded, so that we don't want to go up against something that's shielded. Ah, no. There's of course a good technique for taking down a tank, taking down a POI, is to get up close when you've got a hover tank. Because if you can get in underneath it, what you can do is you're below their range of fire, so I must admit, I do like the firepower. As we're going through are lots of ammo. Have a look. Yeah, we're out of ammo now. Are we out of ammo? Hey. Right. Right. It's just. I want to pull away. Get out the tree, because what I'm interested in is how much damage does this ship actually taken. Right, we got. Just want to know how much damage we've taken. Let's just get back under cover of the rocket, please. Yeah, okay. I mean, I think that's also a pretty good example of the sheer amount of ammunition that we've gone through in a very short period of time, just taking down a POI. So let's just get here and see how much damage the ship has actually taken. I think it's taken quite a lot of damage at the front because we've got some very heavy hits. And I know Span said is that because all the hardened blocks and everything is at the front. Yeah, wow. Now, considering the amount of damage that's got, obviously the look at that, we've lost. No wonder I couldn't shoot the Gatling guns. We've only got we've lost the Gatling guns as well. Wow. But I think if we we still got so the actual container, so all the key vulnerable abilities are actually in the back of the ship here. So yep, you can see if this ship was actually shielded, which I probably would recommend. I think Spange recommends shielding it, upgrading and shielding it. It would make quite a big difference. Anyway, guys, I think hopefully you found that demonstration interesting. And I think this also explains, like, obviously this must be multiple layers of hardened blocks at the front just to take the impact and damage, because again, it's because the turrets are located back further. It's an armored cockpit as well. Yeah, everything at the front here is hardened, and then at the back here you've got softer blocks here. Yep, so I think that's probably a pretty good demonstration of what you're looking for in a hover tank. Anyway, I don't want this video to be too long, so this is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you enjoyed the video and the series. It's not the end of Empyrion, because I'll be back probably within the next couple of days with the start of a new Reforged Eden series, which the focus will be very much on getting up into space, getting into some space combat, possibly some trading as well. So at the moment I'm still thinking a little bit about what start to go for, although I am looking at I can't remember, it's the UI, I think it's called. It was recommended by I can't remember now who recommended it, apologies. And I'm very curious about that because it's one of the few starts I haven't done. Anyway, until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.